Hare Krishna. So we'll start with the prayers. Okay. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपदा मह्यं ददाति स पदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापत्कमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातां सागरना रघुनाथामितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सागरना ललिता श्रीविशाखामितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नामने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पासादेस्तान्ने वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यश्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदनाय कृष्णप्रेम विदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौतस्य नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगत्पते गोपसा गोपिकान्त राधाकान्त नमस्ते तत् कांचन गौरांगी श्रीराधे वृंदावनेश्वरी भानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नियचन्यवासाय नित्य परमात्मने बलवत् सुभद्राभ्याम जगन्नाथाय ते नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण। Yes. Group number one is ready for presentation.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please
Hare Hare.
accept my most respectful obeisances at the dust of your lotus feet. My very respectful pranams to all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis present here, all goes to Srila Prabhupada. Prabhu, in group number one, I'm the only one who will be presenting today. The rest of the members were busy for some reason, so
Okay.
they may present next week, Prabhu. So I'm ready with my part. So if you allow me,
Yeah.
I would like to share my screen and start the presentation.
So I'll make you co-host. Hmm. Yes, mother, you're co-host now.
Sure, Prabhu, I can share my screen. So, Prabhu, the two leelas that I had selected, or the two sections that I selected for my presentation, were the gopis watching Krishna milking the cow and the Purvrag of Radhika, Sri Radhika. So, for the first one, this one, this one, stop share. I'm sharing my screen be better, then I can change. Share. So, Prabhu, for the first Leela, um, I created a comic strip. So, this is the comic strip. I'll share it in the group so everybody can read it. And that's the second page. So, it's a comic strip which has been divided into two pages. So, yeah, just shortly narrating the story that has happened. Prabhu, would you like to read or shall I move on to the presentation?
Mhm. Maybe you can read or somebody's reading.
Okay, Prabhu. Okay, Prabhu. I can read. So, as you can see the title, the white hue of the cows sitting along the road easily surpassed the glow of the full moon. Desirous to milk the cows, the Gopas met with Krishna. This news reached the gopis who ignored their relatives and climbed the watchtowers to see their beloved. One gopi enthusiastically clutched another's hand and pulled her up the stairs. The gopis bathed their minds in the river of nectar flowing from the moonlight face of Krishna. Squatting down and holding the golden milk pail between his knees, Krishna looked very enchanting in his glimmering yellow dhoti. Out of affection for the Lord, the cows freely poured forth streams of milk. Milk spilled out on the ground before a new pot could be brought. Oh, just a second. Okay. Um, so now the conversation of the two Sakhis. Hey Sakhi, the creation of my eyes has attained perfection by the soothing sight of Sham Sundar. We must now exhibit the strength of our mantra chanting by attracting Krishna into our courtyards. How can we do it? In our house, even the strongest girl cannot possibly milk the cows. Due to our reluctance to milk them, we are not deriving any wealth from their milk products. advise the elders to, but then elder, oh yeah, advise them to simply lovingly call for Krishna, and when the cows see him, they will automatically surrender their milk. But then our elders will ask, who is he and where does he live? You should answer them by describing the wonderful milk activities of Krishna that you have just seen. I'm sure that your superiors will immediately respond to your entreaty. Due to his love for all of us, Krishna will respond by rushing here to milk our unruly cows as soon as our superiors inform him. Garlanded with wildflowers and surrounded by humming bees, Krishna walked back to his house after milking the cows. When Krishna left, their eyes stopped functioning for want of anything worth looking at. Within their minds, the gopis found paramount pleasure by lying down with Krishna on the flower bed of surrender. So this was the comic strip for the first one. And then for the next one, I've created a presentation. Let me just put it in the presentation. Right. So the section is called, the chapter is called Pastimes in Summer and Other Season. And the section is the Purv Rag by Sri Radhika. Here first. In this chapter, love is not described directly. Kavi Karnapur uses lots of imageries so that as readers, we can experience what Radharani is feeling through separation, movement, hesitation, union, and even silence. What we see is not just a series of events, but a progression of inner emotional states expressed through nature, poetry, and suggestions. Today, I will briefly trace these 5 stages that have been covered in this particular section and then focus on one of the most interesting moments, the hidden humorous conversation that follows, we know, between which 2 entities. So, the 5 stages that Srila Kavi Karnapur has covered in this particular section are as follows. The first one is separation, which is Purvarag, movement, which is Abhisar, inner conflict, which is Dvandva, then comes union, which is Sangam, and then comes the aftermath of that union, which is Vilas. Each stage is not just a series of events, but a shift in emotional experience as well, as we will see as we go through the slides here. So, this is the first stage, separation, love in absence. In the first stage, we see Radharani in complete separation from Krishna, but this is not an ordinary absence. Her longing becomes so intense that it affects her entire being. Her senses weaken and she becomes almost motionless. What is most striking in this section is how the author expresses this absence and the inner feelings that Radharani is going through, not directly, but through various imageries in the nature. The rain clouds, the dark sky, the continuous downpour, all these situations mirror the inner conflict of Radharani. So we are not just reading about emotions, we are seeing how emotion reshapes her outer world for her. The takeaway from this section is separation intensifies love and not really make the reader morose. So Radharani's inner feelings seems like they have gotten mirrored in the outer material world. The second stage is movement, love in action. From this stillness of intense longing comes the stage of love, which now begins to move. Radharani leaves her home and starts moving toward Krishna, of course, by the help of the Sakhis. Now, one thing we also need to keep in mind that Sakhis are not secondary characters in the pastimes and the loving pastimes of Radha and Krishna. They are actually the one of the main characters, like Radha and Krishna themselves, because in any Madhurya Leela that we see, the Madhurya Leela have been able to make possible just by the contributions of these Sakhis. So Radharani also, being encouraged by her Sakhis, have now left her home and she's on her way to see Krishna. And so she's no longer passive. She is now actively seeking to meet him. The imagery also shifts here from the rain, dark rain clouds, and the heaviness in emotion that was shown by the heavy rainfalls. The imagery shifts from rain to the living forest, the path, the breeze, the night. Everything that Kavi Karnapur uses here suggests movement. Everything is in flux. They are moving. And so, love here is no longer just felt, but it itself becomes a force that makes the lovers, both Radha and Krishna, to move towards each other. In short, we can say that love itself becomes a movement in this stage. The next stage that we see is called the stage of conflict or love in contradiction. At this stage, Radharani reaches the place of meeting, but instead of moving forward, she hesitates. Of course, the hesitation is also there because she's surrounded by a lot of gopis, so she's very, very shy. But here we see a split personality in Radharani. We see that at one point in time, externally, she's feeling very, very shy, but internally, her longing to meet with Krishna, to unite with him, is very, very intense. Um, this is the most beautiful contradiction that we see, and Kavi Karnapur has done an immense job, immensely great job in depicting these two contradictory moods of Radharani at the same time in the same situation. And so here the imageries are of tension, lightning, creeping vines, stillness mixed with movement. So we have lightnings, which are flashes. These are the flashes of emotions which Radharani is going through. Sometimes they are very intense, but then she withdraws her feelings because she's feeling shy and she's not very sure what to do at this point in time. In short, we can say Radharani is externally resistant, but internally she's completely surrendered and ready to unite with her beloved. The next stage is the stage of union, love in expression, or Sangam. When the tension of Radharani, this contradictory stage that we see, that she's longing to meet Krishna, but she's also trying to withhold herself, when this tension reaches its peak, it finally gives way to union, and Radharani does make a move towards Krishna, and the union takes place. But even here, the text that Kavi Karnapur has selected does not directly describe the union, although there are series of actions that have been mentioned here. But this is the expression is so poetic that a reader is moved to the core because they can feel at this point in time, they can almost feel the emotions that Radha and Krishna are going through. And these feelings, these feelings give the taste of rasa that a bhakta looks for when they hear about their beloved Radha and Krishna. So over here we see that Kavi Karnapur again takes help of nature, and he's talking about lightning clouds, breeze, and soft moisture to express the intensity of the moment. And then the experience is not narrated, it is completely suggested, and for the readers to feel it. The more rasika a bhakta is, the more moved they will feel in their hearts when they go through these descriptions. This is what we call Twani, the sound through which correct emotions are stirred in the heart of the readers. And here, the takeaway is that the deepest emotions are suggested, not described. I remember there was a play when I was doing my English literature honors. one word too often profaned. The word love, it has been used in the worldly context so many times in so many different places that now that word has lost its glory. And probably it looks, when I was doing this, it just reminded me of that poem, and I was thinking, Kavi Kanpur also does not want to get into the direct description of all of that, because words sometimes profane the beauty and the purity of the relationship felt between Radha and Krishna. So, moving forward, we are at the last stage now, which is called the aftermath. How Radharani is feeling love in reflection. Although Krishna is not present with her, she still feels his presence all over because of the experience that she just had last night. After the union, the mood changes completely. Radharani turns inward. Instead of clarity, she experiences a kind of sweet confusion. She cannot really fully understand whatever happened. Was it real, or was she dreaming? Her union really took place, or was it a fragment of her fantasy? The imagery that we see in this last section is very, very soft, very internal, as if everything is now happening within within herself. It's very dreamlike, very slow, and very sweet. And so at this point in time, for us, the events shows that the highest experience of love are not always clearly understood. They remain as deep impressions which we continue to cherish for a very long period of time. And so the takeaway is fulfillment deepens mystery. Why mystery? Because Radharani is thinking, did it really happen? Was I really there? Was Krishna really there? And so, interestingly, this point also takes her to her first stage of longing, where she is now again desirous of that union with Krishna. So it's a circle, these five stages are circle, where one after the other, the last stage again leads to the first one. And now the final section of the book. This was probably the most interesting part of the book, and Kavi Karnpur shows his mastery when he is presenting this conversation between Kutila and Shamasaki. So Kutila has kind of discovered that Radharani is she has met Krishna already, and so she starts asking various kind of questions to Shamasaki, and Shamasaki even more intelligently answers all those questions in a device called Slesha, which means having multiple layers of meanings. So every question that Kutila asks, Shamasaki very intelligently turns it around and makes it so that Kutila, she's not saying anything incorrect. She's speaking everything correctly, perfectly, without disclosing the real happenings, or without disclosing the real feelings that Radharani is going through, or the real experiences that she's had. So at this point, the deeply internal mood is suddenly interrupted because Kutila comes. We know that Radharani was sharing her feelings with other Sakhis, and the other Sakhis were also kind of teasing Radharani that what had happened last night. And so the Sakhis, uh, on the interjection of Kutila, Sakis try to protect Radharani by this device of Shlesha. And Kavi Karnapur presents this whole conversation through very witty dialogues where every sentence has two meanings, an external meaning and an internal meaning. And so, what we take away from this entire conversation is that love is not hidden. It cannot be. It cannot be hidden as well. Nobody can even try to hide it, but it speaks its own language, and that language may not be clear to everybody, but it is only cherished by those the sarit, those who have the same thought process, the same feelings, the same heart that they have. And so, so we see that the Purvrag has been explained very, very beautifully over here. And the chapter shows that divine love is not only intense and emotional, but is also very subtle, very intelligent and very beautifully concealed, because we see that even though we say that love follows no logic, we see that at every point in time, the Sakhis, even Radharani for herself, they do not lose their intelligence. When they come to a position where they need to protect their stand and they need to protect Krishna's stand also, very intelligently, they dodge all the questions from the society. So with this, I'll pause here and Krishna, and thank you for being so patient through this. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hey, Hari, thank you. Oh, it was such a scholarly presentation. Hari. So you refer to some other books of Acharyas, or you yourself did like the entire thing?
So, Prabhu, I did the entire thing, but I read through lines and then I try to make out something that, okay, if this is okay or this is not okay. And I do share my presentation with a senior devotee.
Hmm.
From them, I get a little guidance. So, if they say that, hey, this is okay, you can say this, then I go ahead.
Yeah, very
Then
beautiful.
there are edits that.
Please share the PPT with other devotees. Yeah. So you like to thank Mataji by chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Yes. So I hope there's no one else from group number 1. Okay. Group number 3,
Yeah.
Was
Yes. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hari.
Yes. So our group, yes, we were supposed to be two of us at least doing this skit, but Mataji is not there. So Costa Prabhuji and myself, we will be presenting our. So I request, sir, so Prabhuji, can you allow me to share the screen?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Wait a minute. Uh, yes, Mata. You can share the screen now.
Yeah. So is my screen visible, Prabhuji?
Not yet. Yes, Mataji.
Yes. Yes.
Hare
Okay. So
Krishna.
let me just, yeah.
Hare
Let me
Krishna.
just put it
Dandavat
on the,
Pranam
yeah.
to all the present devotees. Today our group is presenting the pastime favoring the wives of Brahmanas. Through this presentation, we aim to highlight the beautiful theme that rituals are meaningful only when accompanied by the deep devotion. Otherwise, they become empty or they are futile. So in our today's presentation, we have 7 characters: a narrator, Lord Krishna himself, Subala, 2 Brahmanas, and wives of the 2 Brahmanas. So, first of all, I apologize that only 2 of us are present. Due to low presence, only Mataji will be presenting most of the part. So, we kindly request every devotee student to attend. Hare Krishna. Please, Mataji.
So Hare Krishna. It's high noon. The sun is blazing. The cows are resting. But the cowherd boys, their stomachs are growling louder than a monsoon thundercloud. And here is Subala with no energy left. Krishna, my ribs are touching my spine. We have been walking for hours. If I don't eat soon, I'm going to start eating the grass with the cows. Don't worry, Subala. Do you see that smoke rising over the trees? The learned Brahmins are performing a massive sacrifice. They have heaps of rice, ghee, and sweets. Go and tell them that Balrama and Krishna are hungry. The boys approach the Brahmanas performing a grand yagna, asking for food. And in response, what they get from Brahmanas is, these boys are disturbing us in the middle of our sacrifice. We can't break the sanctity of the yagna. The Shastras prescribe exact times for offerings. If we give food now, the rituals will be ruined. Who are they anyway? Just cowherd boys. We serve the gods, not wandering children. The Brahmanas, bound by rules, did not recognize Krishna, the very Lord of all sacrifices. The boys returned empty-handed. Krishna just laughed and pointed towards the back of the house where the wives were gathered. The boys ran towards the houses. Mothers, we went to your husbands, but they sent us away. Krishna is hungry. And what? Krishna, the one with the peacock feather? Is he actually here? Yes, but your husband said we have to wait for the rituals to... The ritual is a map, but Krishna is the destination. Sisters, grab the pots, the fresh butter, the sweet rice, the mangoes, everything possible. But the rituals, our husbands, our hearts cannot wait. Rituals are meant for him. What use are they if we deny him food? Let us gather our offerings quickly. His smile is worth more than 1,000 sacrifices. Even if our husbands forbid us, we will go. Love for Krishna is a true dharma. Stop, you cannot go. This breaks tradition. And if tradition keeps us from him, what are we holding on to? The wives, moved by love, gathered food and rushed to Krishna, ignoring all social restrictions, and then they met Krishna. Upon seeing him, their hearts surged with bliss. Krishna, we did not know the mantras. We only knew your name. My dear ones, and that was enough. Your offerings are filled with love. This is the true yagna. I accept your devotion and for sure cannot repay your love. Krishna, we offered rituals before, but today we offer our hearts. Yes, your love has already reached me long before your steps did. Rituals are not wrong. They are a path, but only when love awakens, path finds its purpose. Return now and carry this love into all you do. Shravana darshana dhyanan mai bhavo kirtanat na tatha sannikarshena pratiyata tato grihan. It is by hearing about me, seeing my deity form, meditating upon me, and chanting my names and glories that love for me develops, not by physical proximity. Therefore, please go back to your homes. The wives returned, transformed, glowing with spiritual radiance. Back at the altar, the fire went cold. The Brahmins stood in silence, realizing the spiritual greatness of their wives and witnessing the transformative power of bhakti. They lament their own pride and mechanical ritualism. We knew every mantra, yet missed the one they were meant for. Our rituals reached the altar, but our wives' devotion reached Krishna. Love for Krishna is the highest offering. Hare Krishna.
Thus we conclude with the shloka of Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11th, Chapter 14th and 20th shloka. So in this shloka, this is the dialogue between Lord Krishna and his friend Uddhava. Lord Krishna is telling his friend Uddhava that na sadhayati mam yogo, na sankyam dharma Uddhava, na swadhyayas tapastyago, yatha bhaktir mamarjito. So Lord Krishna is telling Uddhava that my dear Uddhava, my dear friend, the unalloyed devotional service rendered to me by my pure devotees bring me under their control. I cannot be thus controlled by those people who are engaged in mystic yoga or Ashtanga yoga, Sankhya philosophy, pious work, or Vedic study, or study of Vedic scriptures, austerities, or renunciation. I only get controlled by the complete pure devotional service. Hare Krishna. Dandot pranam to all the devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hari, Hari. So beautiful drama presentation with beautiful verses also. Na sadhyati mam yogo na sankham dharma mujhe. Yes, so we'd like to thank this group by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare. So beautiful dramatic way of presenting the entire episode.
To just one comment.
Mm-hmm.
Two lines which is really amazing in the play, where Mataji says, your hearts reached me before your feet did. This is Krishna telling the Brahman Patnis. This is beautiful. I think something to really meditate upon, that sometimes we let go of our heart, but our heart keeps wandering and God knows where, but it does not reach Krishna, but we definitely reach temple and we definitely become part of the festival. So that's really very, very striking. And the statement made by the Brahmanas, our rituals reach the altars, but your love reached Krishna. I think these two lines totally stand on things. Amazing, amazing. This was
Yeah,
beautiful.
yeah. Thank you. Hari, Hari. So after this holy festival, today we'll celebrate Govardhan Leela. Okay. So give me a minute, I'll display the PPT. Okay. So I hope slides are visible to other devotees.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hari. So live full moon is surrounded by stars. Similarly, Krishna is also surrounded by his pastimes and his intimate associates. And these pastimes, they perfectly befit the enchanting atmosphere of Vrindavan. So in daytime, Krishna tends the cows and he sports with gopas. And Mother Earth, she feels greatly honored because she always receives a touch of Krishna's lotus feet. So daytime, gopis don't get to associate with Krishna. Night time, gopas don't get to associate with Krishna. But Mother Earth is always in touch with Krishna. So these gopas, they felt immense bliss as their minds are frolicking with Krishna. And during these days, Krishna would often kill some demons who acted like poison for saintly persons. So you can see in the slide, one day Nanda Maharaj, whose abode of kindness, simplicity, joy, along with other elderly gopas, they made preparation to do Indra Puja. So they collected a lot of articles, made many arrangements, and Krishna was noticing all these arrangements. So he asked Nanda Maharaj. So he said, Baba, what is the name of the ceremony which is going on? Which demigod are you trying to please? And who is that guru who is instructing you in this yajna? What injunctions and systems of worship are you following? And we see people running here and there mechanically in all directions. Why are they doing like that? So, Baba, I don't understand the meaning of it. So, of course, I am only a mere small boy, and you may feel that I am not qualified to understand your explanation. But if you think I am eligible to understand, then please tell me the details of this yajna from beginning to end. But if you feel that this particular detail is too confidential, then I would say still you should speak it to me. Because one should not keep secrets from one's friends and well wishers. So, of course, these details should not be told to the enemies. But anyway, I'm your son. So, then Krishna sat next to Nanda Maharaj on a cloth asan. And then Nanda Maharaj, he lovingly picked up Krishna. As you can see in the next slide. Yeah. So he lovingly picked up Krishna, who is like a spotless moon on the earth. And he placed Krishna on his lap. So hearing the sweet questions of Krishna, Nanda Maharaj smiled, revealing his white teeth, and the soft glow of his face was looking like nectar drops of milk. And this nectar appeared to be washing his beard, which is mixed with white and black colors. Black colored hairs, basically. So, being joyful, Nanda Maharaj started describing about the yajna. He said, Lala, in our family line, we have been observing this Indra Yajna for a long time. We experience prosperity and freedom from disturbance due to its proper performance. Our only wealth is the cows that live on grass, which need rain to grow. So, rain comes from the clouds, and these clouds are controlled by the demigod Indra. And because of all these reasons, I am making this grand festival to please Indra. So every year at the same time, we carefully observe this sacrifice of Indra Yajna. And being pleased with our Yajna, Indra sends abundant rainfall. And other demigods also, they accept our oblations of ghee, and they provide and preserve what we need. So scriptures say that the human beings who honor this tradition become glorious and attain a heavenly planet in the next life. So any man can attain peace of mind by the blessings of demigods. But those who neglect the demigods, they can't get relief from their problems. So for Krishna, these were like bitter words, especially from the mouth of their pure devotees, mouth of his pure devotees. But somehow he hid his feelings, and then he started refuting Nand Maharaj's presentation. And when he started speaking, everybody was amazed by hearing his delivery of speech. So in this way, Krishna mesmerized the entire audience. So Krishna started speaking. He said, Baba, in this regard, your actions are not justified. By the force of karma, everybody is born, they have maintenance, and then they have destruction. So it is not demigods, but it is person's karma, his work, that determines his destiny. A saintly person doesn't have to worship demigod. Because although one may beg so many desirable things from the demigods, but demigods can give one or more things which is destined by his pious and impious acts. Only those who control their senses profound that demigods can award more than what one has worked to attain. So basically he's saying, Chhayeva karma sachiva sadho dinotsala. So demigods, they are like shadows of own karma. And then he says, so you can say that the living entities are inspired by the super soul, but Baba, that is also false. Because everybody is controlled by his own conditioned nature. So actually in reality, it is the acquired desires and personal nature of the living entity that cause him to act. So where is the question of the super soul being the supreme controller? Even the Lord himself does not directly perform the activities of creation, maintenance, and destruction. All these actions are conducted by three modes of material nature, namely goodness, passion, and ignorance. So, my dear Baba, it is not a fact that wherever it rains, the cause is worshipping and pleasing Indra. And because of that, he sends the rains. Like we find in certain seasons, like monsoon season, there is a constant rain. So, can you say that Indra is sending it? Or people perform yajna only during monsoon season? No. Indeed, monsoon season also brings mental distress and people become weak and thin. So that rain is not the mercy of someone who is pleased. And what to say of season mountains? Who stays in the season the mountains, who performs yajna by which the rains come? So of course not. But still they are full of water. So why does Indra give so much water? So impelled by mode of passion, clouds pour rain everywhere. And this rain sustains all the creatures. So nothing will happen if you do not worship Indra. So Brahmanas, they maintain their life by studying and teaching Vedas. Kshatriyas by protecting the earth and their political activities. Vyasyas by trade and agriculture, and Sudras by serving other classes. So we are Vaisyas, and our work is farming, commerce, cow protection, money lending, and it's our duty to protect cows. So neither in the past nor in the present has there been any certainty about having a successful grain harvest in our village. So this yajna is nothing for us. We are forest dwellers. It's our nature to dwell in the forest. It's our nature to wander in the woods and onto the hills. And because we don't stay in one place, why should we perform in the yajna? Today we are performing yajna here, tomorrow we'll move to some other place. So my dear father, I feel it is not based on scriptural injunctions. So Baba, you are peaceful and respected by everyone. So have faith in my words, because that faith will remove all the dangers. So rather than worshipping Indra, all the ingredients which you have collected for worshipping Indra, use it to worship Govardhan. This great mountain is the not Govardhan only name. He's actually Govardhan. Go means cows and Vardhan means increasing. So he has the ability to increase the health and satisfaction of cows. So collect pots full of milk, make first class milk sweets like sweet rice, cook many tasty foods and fancy cakes, bring leaf bowls full of ghee, honey, nectar drinks, prepare an ocean of yogurt, buttermilk, fresh butter, build a mountain of rock candy, cover all the directions with sakharini, rasala, and many other sweets. Send messengers to invite the Brahmanas, feed the Brahmanas very sumptuously until they laugh and they are happy. Oh, very nice. Until their faces beam with brilliant garlands and beautiful smiles. So at that moment, Brahmanas will consider that the heavenly storehouse of nectar is insignificant in front of this feast. Call the priest, let them lead the fire sacrifices, distribute cows in charity to the Brahmanas. And those among you who are simple hearted, just feed the Brahmanas. Please everyone by making annakut, hill of food, which has thick dahis, aromatic vegetables, palatable sweet cakes, surrounded by the sweet cakes should be surrounded by the unlimited sweet rice, pools of sweet rice. So there should be lakes of sweet rice and the mountains of sweet cakes. Worship Giri Govardhan with proper articles like Padda, etc., which we do in deity worship. After feeding the Brahmanas, you should give food to everyone else, including to the dogs and dog eaters, as fallen as them. Saturate the directions with sweet music of bheris, conches, kettle drums, and other instruments. And the witty, well-versed Brahmanas, let them start the yajna, pronouncing the Mangalacharan mantras. So in this way, entire horizon will be surcharged with auspicious sounds. And then, according to Shastric injunctions, you should circumambulate Giriraj in order to conclude the worship. Decorate with priceless jingling ornaments that delight the ears, men should dress so luxuriously that even the demigods would be astonished. Housewives with their sweet, gentle smiles should also assemble. Invite the male and female artists to dance and sing along with the flutes, vidas, mridangas. Bring the bullock carts in a procession led by scholarly brahmanas, who are truly the personified jewels of all auspiciousness. And you, who have the audacity to challenge even Indra, who lives for millenniums, should happily circumambulate Govardhan Hill. Actually, Krishna is doing that. He's putting blame on the Maharaj. Uh, Along with your cows, bulls, and calves. So don't think, how can we have faith in Giriraj? How Giriraj will satisfy our desires? Don't worry. Soon Giriraj will fulfill all your desires. And he'll become famous as second Mahindra. So Indra is the one, and he's Mahindra, second Mahindra. So this Mahindra will reward you handsomely and make all your endeavors fruitful. So what more can I say, my dear Baba? If you want to follow my advice, then certainly you will achieve all auspicious results. So hearing Krishna's speech, Nanda Maharaj and all the other Gopas, they accepted his proposal and they all agreed to satisfy desires of Krishna. Aditi Gaur Prabhu, he has a question.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dinesh Pranam Prabhuji, my question is, when Krishna says according to scriptural injunctions, at that age, has he studied all the scriptures? Of course, scriptures come from him, but he is saying that to his father, Nand Maharaj. So, at that age, at least in front of him, has he studied all the scriptures?
Oh. Let me ask you another question in return. Is the philosophy which Krishna is speaking is right or wrong?
Completely right.
Right? My God. Yes.
The philosophy.
So
What
it's wrong.
philosophy, Prabhuji? Like,
Krishna, whatever he spoke just now, is it right or wrong?
okay.
Actually, it's wrong philosophy. It's called Karma Mimamsa philosophy, which he spoke just now. So I was
Okay.
fearful devotees shouldn't be convinced about what he's speaking. But somehow, I think God Prabhu is confused. If somebody would like to answer what is wrong with what Krishna spoke?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, may I try?
Yes, yes.
So, Prabhu, he's saying that everything depends on our karma. If we've done pious activities, we have done impious activities, we will get results according to our karma. He's even saying that Paramatma has got nothing to do with it. So, totally being under the mode of material nature, whatever we desire, we act accordingly, and then according to our karma, we get our results. So, karma is everything. There is nothing beyond that. So, that's the karma mimamsa philosophy that he's presenting.
So what is wrong with that? How will you refute? You have to refute Krishna.
So, Prabhu, yes, it is true that whatever we do, we are under the mode of material nature and our actions are there. But then our Shastras also teach us that how to come out of that. It's not the desires cannot only be restricted to what we want to do, or just for our this thing, our personal satisfaction. There is a goal to human life, and that goal is taught in the Shastras. Even if we talk about Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, eventually the idea is to come to the point of moksha, which cannot be done only by only by karma, because that does not really take us anywhere. So even if we just because there is no place for Shastra in what he's saying, and that is not true. Shastras are there for a reason. So Shastras are the manual by which we should lead our life. And then Shastras teach us how to go on the path of Varnashram, and then come slowly to the path of Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, and Dharma, Artha, Kama karke, then Moksha, and then of course we have Bhakti, which takes us to our Pancham Purushartha, which is Krishna. So that's my little understanding.
You're speaking like a devotee. I want some strong karma kandi to refute it. Is there some karma kandi here? Because he is refuting demigod worship. Oh
Hare
my
Krishna
God.
Prabhuji, you already answered like the difference karma kandi versus the transcendental one who is in the transcendental knowledge. I think that is our hint.
Okay. Anyway, all of you are not karma kandis. So I happen to come from a background because I'm from Western UP. So the Vasyas as a place are true karma kandis. Now all of us are devotees. All my parents are also parents, brother, everyone is initiated devotees. So when Krishna is saying that no, you don't have to do demigod worship. Actually, one gets results
Right.
of one's piety, and piety involves demigod worship. Piety involves demigod worship. So in that sense, it's not right what he's speaking. So this yagya, cycle of yagya, which devotees don't take seriously because they are devotees, is also spoken in Bhagavad Gita. But Krishna says that humans, they perform yagyas, especially karmakandi yagyas, to satisfy the demigods, and demigods give the results in return. So that activity of pleasing demigods itself is a pious activity. By that one gets fulfillment of one's desires. Similarly, when he spoke about, Krishna spoke about that Paramatma has no role, it's like saying that the desires of the unscrupulous people to defy the state laws is the cause of prison houses. So certainly prison houses are made for the people who defy the laws of government. But it is the government who makes the laws, it is the government who protects the laws, and it is the government who makes the prison house also. So similarly, it is Paramatma who sees that law of karma is working properly. He's Updrashta, Anumanta, Bharta, Bhukta. All these things are there. And it is Paramatma only who has Karnadaksha Vishnu, Garbhadaksha Vishnu, Thirodaksha Vishnu. They are called three Paramatmas. So they are the one who are the cause of creation, maintenance, and destruction. And they make up this jail of material world. So in this way, there is an involvement of Paramatma a lot. But certainly Krishna is speaking this karma Mimamsa philosophy only for the purpose of making Indra angry. That was his purpose. And for Vrajavasi, they're simple. Whatever Krishna speaks, that is right. No logic. Nothing is required. So that is how they immediately agree. So Prabhupada himself writes that in Krishna book, that Krishna is speaking Karma Mimamsa philosophy. He's speaking Krishna. So we don't follow his philosophy, Karma Mimamsa. We follow his philosophy of Bhagavad Gita. We follow his philosophy of Uddhav Gita. Not the philosophy he's speaking now. But we love what he spoke just now, because it's a part of pastimes. Yeah.
Just want to share something. I heard it from a senior devotee, place that he's Lachua Temple, Florida, sannyas candidate. So he says that he probably read it in one of the purports by Srila Prabhupada in one of his books. He says that Srila Prabhupada says that the freedom to misuse free will is part of our free will. So Krishna knows that there will be people, just like as you were giving the example of the prison house, that the government knows that whatever laws they are making, there will be few people who will break the law. In the very same way, Krishna knows that if I've given them the free will, the very act to misuse the free will is part of the free will. So the material, that's why the material world has been created. So just wanted to share that.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. So definitely, as you rightly said, that maybe this is not the right philosophy there, but whatever Krishna said is very logical. So from logical point of view, also, if somebody sees that, people will get, the logical people also will get very convinced with the way that Krishna has basically explained why Indra should not be prayed and we should be doing Govardhan.
Actually, this is very famous philosophy. This is not like Krishna speaking. Already is very famous philosophy. Many times we may not immediately understand it when we hear from outside people. But recently, when certain devotees or some visitors, they departed in Vrindavan. So this happened just a few days back. So there was one video which became very viral where this person was saying, "Oh, ultimately it depends on how you work, and not just devotion is not enough." And then he was giving examples. Okay, just see people in the West; they don't perform any yajna, still yet they are so prosperous. So they were speaking. He was speaking all these things, and it was so convincing. So all these philosophies, including the Karma Mimamsa philosophy, they all are part of Vedas. Greatest atheistic philosophies are within the Vedic umbrella. Nobody can be more atheist than a Vedic atheist. Like our current philosophy, which is I won't want to enter another zone now. Let us come to past, but I'll just mention this point. The greatest philosophy which we have currently is called the theory of atom. So Vaisesika Sutra 1, 2 are Newton's law 1 and 2. The Newton's law 1 and 2. So Kanad Rishi has given this Vaisesika philosophy, and that is the basis for current day physics and chemistry. So there's atheistic philosophy, and all these 5 types of atheistic philosophies are defeated by Vyasdeva's Vedanta Sutra. So this is one of them. Karma Mimamsa is one of them. Karma Mimamsa is one of the philosophies which our acharyas have punched like anything, especially Rup Goswami. So, but all of them are convincing. That's why I'm saying, if you want to find the greatest atheist, go and see in the Vedic circle. You will find the greatest atheist. But then Vyasdeva has defeated them also. So that is how Vedic umbrella embraces him as the atheist and gives them an opportunity to become theists again. So Vedas are very wide. Okay, one last question. Aditya Gaurpu had a question. And then we'll move to the next slide.
Prabhuji, I didn't heard the question. I just wanted to say that I don't know whatever Krishna has said is logical or convincing, but the way you portray them is very convincing.
Okay. No, Krishna is more convincing than me. I can't portray the way he portrays. Krishna can say anything and convince anyone of anything. Krishna is super expert. He doesn't have to even speak. He'll just smile at you and then you'll be convinced, oh, whatever he's speaking is right. Gopis say, Buddha Manosaya Puskarekshana. Yeah. So Buddha Manosaya, what Manosaya means? Krishna is expert in convincing those who are intelligent people. So this quality of Krishna. So now we move to the next slide. Okay. So in this way, acting as the Acharya of Yajna, Krishna directed all the Vrajavasis to worship Giriraj with all the paraphernalia which was collected for Indra worship. So Krishna is called Deva Devo Janardanaha. Devas are known to play with others, and Krishna plays even with the demigods. So in this way, This course made Indra very angry. So what was heard in entire Vrindavan was just auspicious instrumental music. Vedic hymns were resounding throughout the sky. Vrajavasis were very blissful. All living entities were in jolly mood from the worship of Giriraj. Hearing the melodious voices of the ladies, cuckoos were trying to learn singing from them. So cuckoos are generally known for their sweet singing. Coo, coo. And they were now learning from the gopis of Vrindavan. Gopis of Vrindavan were singing sweetly than even the cuckoos. Ears had attained their purpose by receiving all these auspicious sounds. These cows, they had gold-plated horns. They had colorful silk cloths on their back. They had pearl necklaces, and tingling bells were hanging from their necks. So these cows are more richer than any of the ladies today. Seeing their mothers so richly ornamented, the calves were jumping excitedly. Nand Maharaj brought the necessary articles from his house to worship Giriraj. And he initiated the puja by fully first offering padya to wash the lotus feet of Giriraj. In an ebullient mood, he made the Annakut hill complete with its powerful peaks that delighted all in the attendance. So such huge peaks were there. The peak rising out of the middle of the hill looked like a crown made of white camphor. The multicolored cakes stuck on the sides of Annakut hill, and these cakes were looking like stones and boulders. The base of the hill were the clay pots full of milk, yogurt, sweet rice. There were colored sabjis, lakes of dal, fragrant soups. Due to covering of ghee, Annakut mountain was looking like Mount Kailas. The peak, where it was golden color. It was simmering under a cover of grain. Pure ghee looks golden. So once my father, he was a vice principal of agriculture college. So in front of that, we had cows. So as soon as the milk of cows would come, there was a golden layer on top of that. So pure ghee has golden milk, golden color. Different kinds of fruits and flowers decorate its edges. And when Nanda Maharaj saw the opulence of Annakut spreading its sweet aroma of cloves, camphor, cardamom in all directions, he felt this was a befitting honor of Giriraj, who is king of all the mountains. So Sri Hari Krishna smiled happily upon seeing such an amazing Annakut, which was rivaling the peak of Mount Sumeri also. And then, to everyone's amazement, you can see in the next slide. Yes. On in front of everyone, a huge unpresent form stood on the top of Govardhan hill. Actually, he was Krishna only. He was like another Govardhan on top of Govardhan. Krishna with the huge form. So he took this form to anger Indra more and instill the faith in Gopas that they are doing the right thing. So observing this powerful form glowing like thousands of suns, Krishna, who remained among the cowherd men in his original human-like form. So there was one Krishna, you can see here, one Krishna with Vrajavasi is there, and on the top of the hill you can see another Krishna. So this Krishna was addressing that Krishna. So he said, "Oh, look, look, look! By using all the paraphernalia to exclusively worship Giriraj with pure love, you have received his favor. Now Giriraj, the best of all mountains, has manifested before you as a brilliantly effulgent person. Please look very closely. Huge mouth of this expanded form of Giriraj resembles a deep cave. His mouth is massive. His face looks so beautiful like full moon. Usually, trees serve as his arms, but now he has two beautiful arms. adorned with attractive jeweled armlets. Usually, hard rocks cover his body, but now he has assumed a tender, sweet form. Look, 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 how that beautiful body walks over the non moving form. Moreover, this non moving form is sitting like a seat made of costly emeralds, but it appears like a huge chest of the moving one. And glittering like a row of rubies, his teeth look like crown of non moving form. The saffron hue of the minerals on the non moving form gives an attractive hue to the lips of moving one. In comparison, these two forms of Govardhan manifest the same elegance. Govardhan is reciprocating with your loving, overflowing love and devotion. He is acting like a hungry person who's extending his arms bedecked with jewels. Look, look, look. Just see, just see how this hill has appeared in form to fulfill your desires. So now all of you should offer him respects. And then Krishna and all the Brajavasis bowed down to this personated form of Govardhan hill, who was like a huge Krishna on top of Govardhan. So both Krishna and people of Vrindavan bowed down to this personified form of Giriraj. And actually, Krishna offered obeisance to himself. So all the elderly Gopas, the Gopis, leading men of Vrindavan, they saw this form shining like sun. So they raised their arms, they folded their palms, they kept them above their heads, and all of them were saying, Namo, 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 Namo. Being overwhelmed with affection, they dance around aesthetically. So by worshipping Govardhan Hill, Vrajavasis realized that Govardhan is a person. Music from the temples when the different demigods were being worshipped resounded in all the directions. All sides, and from all sides, intoxicated dancers performed blissfully. Heavenly kinnaras, they joined in the dancing, and relishing the music and singing, Vrajavasis forgot themselves in that Govardhan Puja. Govardhan, he caused the entire atmosphere to abound in happiness. Govardhan Hill affectionately accepted the faithful worship of Nanda Maharaj by manifesting a personal form. Anyone who simply chants, hears about the glories of Giriraj, which are inconceivable to an ordinary person, will be delivered from all the calamities. Even today, all the Vrajavasis have full faith in that. So Nanda Maharaj, the father of the subduer of demons, concluded the propitious worship of Giriraj by sumptuously feeding the Brahmanas up to dog and dog eaters. He rewarded all the singers and dancers handsomely, and everyone who was attending the festival received precious gems and opulent garments from Nanda Maharaj. So in this way, their hearts full of joy, Vrajavasis talked excitedly among themselves, and now they performed Govardhan Parikrama. So you can see the next slide. They're performing Govardhan Parikrama. So skilled musicians led the way while playing the finest instrumental music. The bheris, dhakas, kettle drums were vibrating in the atmosphere. With their body decorated with designs drawn from kumkum, cowherd boys were following the musicians. Wielding their sticks, they fearlessly drove the multicolored cows who were ornamented with gold and jewels. And a second group of talented musicians, they came along playing flutes and vidas. Then came the singers who had sweet, gentle voices. Then there were aesthetic dancers who were moving in rows behind each other. And then gopis, their faces glowing with happiness, came riding on bullock cart, which rivaled the golden chariots of the gods. So this was in sequence. So they were singing very loudly about intimate pastimes of Krishna. So Lord Hari, who removes all the obstacles, laughed and joked with all the Gopas as they circumambulate the Govardhan hill. And eternally bound to Krishna in faith, all the cowherd boys, Gopas, they remained fearless and free from all anxieties. Wearing a sweet smelling flower garland across his chest, Nanda Maharaj was walking behind the boys so that to see that all of them are protected. He was smiling with great satisfaction. He was accompanied by other leading men of Vrindavan. So, in accordance with the scripture injunctions, they gave charity to the Brahmanas at different places while going around Giriraj. So, we can't find any container in the world which can hold the unlimited bliss felt by the Brajavasis during Giriraj Parikrama. So, even though very tiny in size, the soul can enjoy immeasurable happiness like this. So, as a result, their souls were drowned in inconceivable joy. The continuous sound of music from dhakas, kettle drums, which are famous in heaven and earth, increase the bliss of parikrama. Yeah. And now you can see the next slide. Yeah. So soon they arrived in Yamuna, which was previously flowing near Govardhan. And this was the day of which we call as Bhai Dooj in North India. And according to Vedic calendar, it's called Bharat Dvitiya Tithi, which is very dear to both Yamuna and her brother Yamraj, because Yamuna is sister of Yamraj. So that's why they decided to take an auspicious bath on Bhai Dooj in Yamuna. And on this day, this year I happened to be there taking a bath in Yamuna on Bhai Dooj. So all the Brajavasis, they celebrate this day. So this is a day when sisters pray for the prosperity of the brothers. Okay, so before going to next slide, Sankari Khuri Mata shared some question.
Yes, Prabhu.
At
So, Prabhu, here we are reading that even though tiny in size, the soul can enjoy immeasurable happiness. So, Prabhu, do we understand that the happiness and sadness that we feel, um, it is felt by the soul, not by the mind or uh, ourselves, or there is a distinction between material happiness and spiritual happiness? So the spiritual happiness is felt by the soul, but the material happiness is felt by the mind.
So actually happiness is felt by the soul only, because only soul is conscious. Metal elements are not conscious in themselves. But the quality of happiness is different. So basically what we call as happiness in this world is basically removal of misery. When our senses come in contact with sense objects, senses become agitated. Like tongue starts salivating if we find some fine foodstuffs. That's basically a state of misery. And when sense objects come in contact with the senses, that misery is temporarily removed. And that removal of misery is basically called happiness in this world. So this is about happiness of operating from sense objects. Higher than that is the happiness from Brahman. What is happiness of Brahman? By very nature, soul is Satchid Ananda. So we also have an Anand feature within us. And when we experience that Anand feature, then that's called Brahmananda. Realizing that I am not body, I am soul. But then higher than that is the Bhakti Ananda or Premananda. So there's the Ananda which we get by coming in contact with Krishna. So when we come in contact with Krishna, it's like a minute soul covered by ocean of happiness. So actually speaking, naturally we need that love for Krishna. And because that is not available in the sense gratification or in Brahman realization, where we realize I'm not body, I'm soul. That's why soul can't be happy there. That is the problem. So we can be happy or unlimitably happy only when we come in contact with Krishna. So the difference between the Ananda from sense pleasures, Ananda from self, and Ananda from bhakti.
Yes, so Prabhu, Jadananda, Brahmananda, and Premananda.
Yes.
These three categories.
Three categories.
Thank you, Prabhu. That was a beautiful answer. It makes so much sense to say that only soul is conscious. Really, the stool body, stool sharir ho, ya it is our
Sukshma Sharir.
Sukshma sharir. None of them can feel anything because practically they are made of material which does not have the power to feel. Thank you, Prabhu. That makes so much
Hare.
sense. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Yeah, Aditi Gorpu wanted to speak something?
I just wanted to say I really wish someday I can realize that.
You are realizing some things, and you are not realizing that you are realizing certain things, and you realize more things as the time pass. Yeah. Actually, even the pleasure which we are getting while we sometimes attend kirtans, that's not available with any amount of sense gratification. Like sometimes you find these Ambanis are enjoying bhajan sandhya. You would say, my God. No, we are doing it every day. We don't have to be Ambani to experience that. So that's why the pleasure which we are getting, even in the conditioned state, that's not ordinary. Like I remember, especially for 4 or 5 years. So now at that time I was a brahmachari actually. So those years I would go to Kirtan Vela. That was like the pleasure in the entire year. So morning 10 till night 10 p.m. Just sit in and immerse yourself in the holy names. So that's divine. Yes. Okay, one last comment by Asutosh Pro.
Sorry, Prabhuji, taking time.
Hare.
Just one thing which I realized that often the Maya is so strong that we start to validate our pleasures. Even if we are in the transcendental consciousness, at times it happens that we don't think about anything and we just think about Krishna and the supreme love. But then when we come back to the modes of material nature, that's where we start validating our past experiences also. That is that the only thing that we experience. So that is all like how Maya is just manipulating.
Yeah. So anyway, we don't have to analyze gulab jamun while reducing gulab jamun. So let us just keep on reducing
Absolutely.
gulab jamun. We don't have to analyze so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Like I don't know about all of you. At least yesterday's class, no, this holy festival. I was like, especially the part of Madhu Mangal was. I really want to meet Madhu Mangal. Anyway, here also he's hero in Gaur Leela. He comes as a Kula Vijay Sridhar. So that time also his pastimes are very touching. And in Krishna Leela also he's a hero. Yeah. Okay, so now we'll move to the next slide. So this is the Bhai Dooj festival. Again, Madhu Mangal is here also. So Sunanda, who is a daughter of Upananda, so she invited Krishna, who is her cousin brother. So who is always jubilant and victorious to celebrate the festival. So because of this festival only, even today Vrajavasis on Bhai Dooj, all of them they take Yamuna bath, and all the sisters they pray for their brothers in the bank of Yamuna. So the festival is we are discussing now. So Krishna, who delights in all moving and non-moving creatures, gladly accepted the request of Sunanda. So his heart was overflowing with loving feeling for her dear sister. So very affectionately, she served all types of delicious drinks and tasty cakes to Krishna and his friends. And Balramji, Haladhar, and all the boys enjoyed excellent food, while Batu, Madhumangal, the skillful gesture, he was entertaining everyone by funny jokes and antics. So Madhumangal, he was speaking. Alas, alas, alas. Oh dear friend, creator of Agha, why didn't foolish creator make every tithi into Bhai Dooj, Bharatya tithi? Oh brother, who chess science with the mark of Srivatsa, we count the year in terms of days. So how come you don't have many sisters like Sunanda who acting as embodiment of kindness fill every day like that? So one sister, one day, every day will be feast like this. So you should have so many sisters. If this had happened, it would be a great source of pleasure for us. Yesterday's Govardhan festival had passed, and though heaps of food and drink were offered, and although I'm a voracious eater, still I did not enjoy it as much as I'm enjoying today. Today I'm so happy. Today's Bhrati Dvitiya, Bhai Dooj. So in this way, Krishna, who steals everyone's heart with his charming character, enjoyed the simple joking words of Batu as he was joyfully eating. And then you can see the next slide. Yes. So the important part of ceremony. In this world, generally, all the sisters are eagerly waiting for it. So then in mutual affection, Krishna and Sunanda exchanged so much of valuable clothes, jewels, golden ornaments. So many gifts were exchanged that all the people of the earth were astonished. So in this way, Bhratri Ditya, Bhai Dooj celebration it ended. So there was a big celebration after celebration in this world when Krishna was there. And there, demigod Indra developed a headache. He developed a headache that he was being ignored and forgotten by the Vrajavasis. So now he tried to get relief from his headache by taking revenge by employing excessive rains. So while sitting among the demigods, Indra was feeling so sad and distressed seeing that his sacrifice had been cancelled. And that's the nature of mind. Although one has unlimited opportunities to enjoy, even a single opportunity where one doesn't enjoy, one looks for that. Like in the feast, our plate, there may be 55 fish items. But why 56 is not there is something which becomes painful, especially if it is there in the neighbor's plate. Oh, gulab jamun is missing, gulab jamun. Hey, so many items that you enjoy that. Why you are looking for gulab jamun? So there's the nature of mind. Or the nature of mind is that we always look for some sort of misery. Some sort of misery. Like I've seen sometimes people dwelling in their past incidences where they were miserable. Sometimes old man and woman, they sit together 50 years before. My mother gave 50 bowls and your mother kept all of them. So it's like both the mothers have died now, everybody is gone and the bowls are gone, but still people talk about it. So that's the nature of mind. So same thing, that's not true just with people of this world, that's true even for the demigods. One last comment, it's like it comes in Uddhav Gita. Krishna says to Uddhava that actual happiness is obtaining mode of goodness. It's not going to heaven. He's talking even from material side, not spiritual side. Because if person has envy, he will be unhappy even in the heaven. So, and generally people in heaven are unhappy because of envy. Oh, have only asan made of gold with rubies. Yes, asan made with golden diamonds. So I have some apsara, but his apsara is more beautiful. So that's how people compare, and they become so miserable. So when envy is there, one cannot be happy. And same thing was happening to Indra. So burning with rage, Indra spoke. You can see in the next slide. So this Indra, one was the concept of Christian God, sending people to heaven and hell. So Indra said, just see how surprising it is. The intelligence of these cowherd men is just like animals. They start my puja, and how? Just by hearing the words of a mere child, Balisa. Hmm. Even though many goddess of learning praise me, those offensive cowherd men, they didn't even think twice before giving up my worship. How they have been overcome by false pride. So he had false pride and he was seeing false pride within the cowherd men. O virtuous cowherd men, now you have acted deviously without any fear of anyone. Well, I'll see how long it lasts. The foolish, arrogant, talkative child, he has offended me. Even though you claim he satisfies your desires and gives you long, prosperous lives, soon we'll see if he is really your well-wisher, whether he can save you. So this is overcome by revenge and frustration. Indra considered a moment how to retaliate against the Brajavasis. So angry Indra then released powerful clouds of universal destruction, which are known as Samvartak. So these are clouds which come during Pralay, Purna Pralay. So coming before their master, the clouds submitted. They said, O master, we are your servants and always ready to execute your order. And then to encourage the servants, Indra glanced at them affectionately and appreciated them and addressed to them. He said, Hango, O my playful, speedy clouds, who are famous throughout the world for distributing profuse rain. Your pride and your power fills me with strength. Now make me successful by carrying out my orders. So you have unadulterated mood of destroying the whole creation within you. But now I have given you a very small task. You are supposed to be involved in a very small region called Vrindavan. So go, shake the earth with thunder and destroy this village of Vrindavan with a deluge. So being released from the task of devastating the universe at a particular time, Samvartak and other servants of Indra proudly stepped forward to accomplish their mission. And now you can see the next slide. What was the situation in Vrindavan? So this is the situation in Vrindavan. Vast bank of clouds appearing like a huge patch of moss in the sky. It fully blocked the sun and the entire Vrindavan was covered with darkness. Extending from Rasatal to Sargloka, the clouds which had covered Vrindavan were looking like smoky breath exhaled by Nagas. So when the smoke comes out, it makes a shape. Clouds were looking like that. Released from their bonds, ominous clouds in a sportive mood of breaking the Kedara mountain quickly spread throughout the whole sky. So these dense clouds appeared as massive as celestial elephants guarding the quarters of globe. And then another group of dangerous clouds circled overhead. The clouds like Mount Menak, the son of Himalayas, continually expanded and flew freely in the sky without any fear of being cut by Indra's millions of thunderbolts. Because they are ultimately Indra's clouds only. One fantastically large cloud bank appeared like second Lokalok mountain, so huge. The hard peaks of those clouds continued to grow higher and higher while simultaneously expanding in all directions. So when the clouds collected, they covered all planetary system in darkness. Even the sharpest axe could not cut through the dense network of clouds that assembled over Vrindavan. Three worlds appear to be born in darkness created by that expanding cloud bank. Covering the universe turned black as some soot has been smeared from the bottom of the pot in the sky. However, the universal disturbances and the attack of the devastating Samvarta clouds had no effect on Vrindavan. So it was creating disturbances, but Vrindavan was not affected. Because Vrindavan was bathing in the moonlight emanating from Krishna's jewel-like toenails. So from outside, although the clouds were there, from within, Vrindavan was lighted by the light coming from Krishna's toenails. Jyotsna abhira ahata mahadranandakaram. By meditating on Krishna's toenails, the ignorance within the heart is destroyed. One gets the knowledge of Upanishads. Yeah. So after earth, water, fire, air, and the 10th element called Anitamasa, it had occupied the entire atmosphere, including the 10 directions. So it seemed that nobody in the world could see anything because of the blinding darkness. And now you can see the next slide. Yes. And now the rains began. Water dripped from the dome-like covering of the universe. Water drops moved so fast that they found practically like continuous stream of water, which was speeding through the universe like a raging river. It was looking as if some dam has been broken and the river is falling from the sky. Such a thing never happened before. Rather, the torrential downpour of the water was looking like branches of banana tree. So if you see the banana tree, so many sub branches come from the top and they enter in the ground. So they were looking like that. And then the situation of cows, you can see in the next slide. Yes. So cows who had sheltered their calves under the blankets of loose skin on their necks were somehow trying to protect their calves. In fear of slashing rainwater, the cows kept their eyes almost closed. The tails were hanging straight down and they were shivering uncontrollably because of the violent rains. The skin on their backs were swelled up, and while standing in this painful condition, they looked towards Krishna for shelter. When rain had hit the horns of the bull, it bounced off from the bull's head and it landed on their fatty humps. So it came from head, went on the humps. Breaking into small pearl-like drops, it rolled down their muscular backs. Alas, alas, the fierce rainfall angered and tormented the bulls. And observing the torrents of rain, which fell in columns as thick as trunks of full-grown banana trees, the Vrajavasis, they thought that the pralaya has come, devastation has come. So terrified and weakened, they approached Krishna, who makes everyone happy. So full of pain and agony, they spoke to Krishna. You can see in the next slide. Yeah. So they all approached Krishna. Oh Krishna, you always save us and give us happiness. And now we are in great danger. Since you are the Lord of Gokul, you should immediately protect us. Look, look, the flashing lightning bolt appears like the forked tongue of an angry snake. The pounding hailstones are pulverizing the life out of the trees. They are attacking the trees. The lightning bolts entering the water look like brilliant fire emitted by the hydras. The clouds roar ferociously as they release torrents of rain as thick as massive columns. The vast sheets of water are increased in volume like ocean of devastation. The earth is quickly submerging in the flood. and we cannot distinguish the high ground and the low ground. Everything is filled with water. Just look around and see for yourself, and especially the cows. The Surabhi cows use their own bodies to protect their calves from pelting hailstones. With their tear-filled eyes, they are speaking to you. Oh Krishna, once you saved us from devastating forest fire, so please save us from this terrible rainfall too. Looking at the condition of the bulls, upon hitting their humps, the heavy hailstones are being ground into pieces and scattering on the ground like pearls. Their eyes reddened in rage. The bulls raise their heads to look angrily at the clouds. Their faces and bodies are completely drenched in water. Ah, how much they are suffering. This devastation seems like personification of a big anartha which we cannot remove. O Krishna, you can deliver us. Therefore, we are surrendered unto you. We are your loving kinsmen, so please save us. So, after hearing their anxious pleas and seeing the desires of his cows, Krishna, whose blossoming lotus eyes are beautiful to behold, considered this must be work of Indra. In a compassionate voice, sweeter than honey, Krishna consoled his family and friends. And he said, my dear Vrajavasis, don't be afraid. Actually, this trouble is as significant as a hunger pain to one who has just consumed a sumptuous feast. So after feast, can somebody have hunger pain? No. So you can't have any problem. Anyone practicing devotion service can easily remove all the anarthas. The kinnaras and demigods glorify this fact. So for your benefit, I will now enact a special pastime to destroy Indra's mountain of pride. Pritiya tato grahan. So I will now crush the pride of Indra and save my own people. So the relisher of nectarine rasas, Krishna has a beautiful body which is as sweet as honey in a flower. So even without tightening his cloth, which is generally used for doing some hard work, like we find pandas in Jagannath Puri. So before lifting Jagannath, they have like this cloth here and there and they tie nicely. But they're going to lift the heaviest person in the creation, Jagannath. So, but Krishna didn't even tighten his clothes. So he showed complete indifference to the mighty wrath of foolish Indra. And instantly Krishna picked up Govardhan Hill. You can see in the next slide. Yes. Of course, he's showing point index finger here. It's from the little finger actually. Yeah. So Krishna picked up Govardhan Hill with one hand and held it aloft with no more effort than a child takes to hold a mushroom or elephant uses to lift a clump of grass. So loud sound echoed in all the directions. When the mountain rose into the air, echo sounded like a bunch of rowdy children yelling with its many caves. Lifting of Govardhan Hill produced an angry, loud noise that crushed the pride of elephants guarding the eight directions. The furious sound roamed around and around within the coverings of the universe. Sound had enough intelligence to win a wager on whether it could break the long meditation of Brahma on Brahmaloka. So such a loud sound over there. Sound dared to interrupt the approaching Madhvika wine drinking festival of ladies in Pataloka. So they have a drinking festival. It will break even that. Flowering flowers falling from the trees appear to be the form of Girat's aesthetic laughter. So when Krishna lifted Giriraj, flowers were falling from the trees. It was looking like Giriraj is dancing. Sorry, he's laughing. Why is he laughing? He's laughing because of touch of Krishna's hand. And those falling flowers seem to be Giriraj celebrating the destruction of Indra's fame. Oh, Indra's fame will be destroyed now. Growing higher and higher, the sharp peaks of Giriraj cut the ominous clouds into pieces. Rows of trees along the peaks of Giriraj challenge the trees in Indra's celestial forest, Nandankanan. Lions on the top of Govardhan, they thought these clouds are elephants. So they were roaring on the clouds. They were making sounds. Using their powerful sharp claws, these lions were ripping apart cluster of elephant clouds. And in the fear, clouds who came to drown the entire Vrindavan, they're running here and there. And seeing Krishna holding Giriraj aloft his left hand, even Mount Kailash was shivering in fright while thinking, hey, look, what is this covering in the sky? How could this happen? Even Mount Sumeru panicked. Overwhelmed in the fear, the elephants of the 8 directions, they jumped in Mansi Ganga. And in this way, Giriraj served Gokul as a jeweled, bedecked umbrella that could not be moved by fierce winds or pierced by the razor-sharp lightning bolts of Indra. Giriraj Maharaj ki jai. Balanced on beautiful emerald pole of Krishna's raised arm, Giriraj cast a pleasing radiance upon everyone. The glimmering rain shower coming down from all the sides seemed like streams of dripping pearls. And while holding Giriraj in one hand, Krishna, whose wonderful behavior illuminates the world, spoke convincingly to all the Gopas now, the cowherd community basically, all the Brajavasis. He said, Ma, don't be in anxiety. Baba, don't worry. Oh, my dear friends, don't doubt my ability. Giriraj will not fall from my hand. You directly saw how he personally accepted our worship. Yes. So is it difficult for him to remain suspending in the sky? So although Giriraj appears to be a huge immovable mountain, he's transcendently situated beyond the doubts and comprehensions of this material world. He's spiritual. And just see how light he is. Even a small child like me can easily pick him up. Just see how Giriraj is completely independent, moving according to his own sweet will. And for me, as I'm concerned, I'm just an instrument. Therefore, all of you should collect all your property and come under Giriraj. It's called Talhati of Giriraj. There's no difference between village of Vrindavan and this valley below Giriraj. Be happy and stay here peacefully. So at the end of every kalpa, everyone in creation gives up their gross bodies and lives in the abdomen of Narayan in their subtle bodies. So that's after the devastation after every kalpa. They stay with Garbhodaksha Vishnu. Staying there, however, you cannot enjoy as much fun as you will enjoy living here in the belly of Giriraj. So there you are enjoying on the body of Garbhodaksha Vishnu, but here you will enjoy even more. So when I lifted the hill, huge chunks of earth fell at the bottom and it formed a natural boundary around the perimeter of Giriraj. So this wall will keep out the torrential rains so that rainwater cannot come inside. Forget about your pleasure gardens and your attachment to your former residences. Let this place become the source of joyful pastime for cows, gopas, and the gopis. So the string of Govardhan Dhari's reassuring word were looking like elegant necklace made from the nectar of his voice. So all the elderly gopas, they felt totally pacified. And then taking their wealth, sons, wives, cows, priests, they felt immeasurable happiness. And beaming with matchless beauty, they entered the suspended valley beneath Giriraj. That you can see in the next slide. Yes. So they all came under Giriraj. Of course, Gemini has a limitation. He cannot make Giriraj fully. The small Giriraj, but actually Giriraj is very huge. So taking shelter there, they all filled with surprise and smiled with delight. They clearly saw that the valley beneath Govardhan, which dazzled attractively in light, could accommodate innumerable cows, animals, and family members. This valley was called Girasi Talhati. So this valley brimmed with gratifying sense objects to see, touch, taste, and so on. So all the arrangements were under Giriraj to enjoy. That divine place was the very ornament of earth. Its purity and opulence exceeded the wealth of subterranean heavenly planet Sutala. Sutala is considered more beautiful than Swarga also, because Baliwala stays there. But more beautiful than Sutala is this Talati of Giriraj, valley under Giriraj. Fields of rich green barley spread in all directions. There were lakes full of crystal clear waters who stood here and there. Cows stayed near the border of the improvised town and pastured on the field full of fresh green grass. This is all under Giriraj. Now, we can't sweat through Gemini. The Vrajavasis stood around peacefully in different groups. Some cowherdmen mixed with Brahmanas and elderly married ladies stayed with their daughters, the young gopis. Radhika and other prominent young married gopis gathered beside them. Krishna's intimate friends like Batu remained by his side. Nanda, Yasoda, Balram, they stood slightly in front of him. And the vulnerable Vrajavasis realized great joy associating intimately with Krishna. They no longer felt any fear or discomfort from Indra's deluge, which threatened to destroy the world. So the rain falling from the roaring clouds sounded like water pouring from mouths of many large water pots. So although situated in different directions, all the Brajavasis gazed to their heart content on lotus feet of Giridhari, the lifter of Govardhan hill. So actually, this was Krishna's arrangement. In the daytime, gopis were anxious, they couldn't see Krishna. In night time, gopas were anxious, they couldn't see Krishna. But this time, all of them could together see Krishna for 7 days and 7 nights. So each devotee saw that Krishna was looking directly at him. Feeling relieved, the illustrious Brahmanas offered abundant blessings to the younger brother of Balram, Ramanuj, that's Krishna. Krishna descended on the earth to perform his transcendental pastimes and to crush the pride of both demons as well as demigods. So now he was crushing the pride of demigod, Indra. While holding up Govardhan hill, Krishna was surrounded by all his loving associates. And taking advantage of intimate settings, they gazed at Krishna with joyful faces, prayed for his victory, affectionately smelled his head. And being saturated with parental affection, Mother Rohini firmly embraced her son Balram, who always gives immense pleasure to his parents. Both the submissive gopis and the contradictory ones like Radhika, they smiled blissfully while looking at Krishna with love-laden glances. And the gopis who always play with Krishna and enjoy love sports in the forest of Vrindavan, they were gazing upon him like thirsty chakori birds who continually ding the ambrosial residence of his moon-like face. And with unblinking eyes, they took Krishna within their hearts and lovingly embraced him. And during this festival lifting Govardhan hill, everyone tasted the greatest ecstasy. Hari. And now comes Madhumangal. So we'll discuss about it in the next class, because now the conversation is different. It's like a funny conversation now. So that we'll discuss in our next class. Okay, so we'll end here. Hare Krishna. Sri Giriraj Maharaj ki jai. So maybe what we can do, we'll not have a presentation next week. Let us complete 1-2 more chapters, then we'll have presentations. So we'll continue with Godhan Leela in our next class. Okay, so we'll end here. श्री गिरिराज महाराज की जय। नंदनंदन मोर मुकुट वंशी वाले कृष्ण भगवान की जय। आनंदम चंपू की जय। कवि कर्णपुर की जय। शीलपोपात की जय। वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्यश्च पतितानां पावन वैष्णव नमो नमः। शीलपोपात की जय।
नमो नमः।
शीलपोपात की जय।